All right, let's do two more together, and then I'll give you some practice time. And this next page, solve for the variable. Drawing that balance line to keep our eyes organized. We're going to notice that we have a B on the left of the balance and a B on the right of the balance. There's no distribution and no combining like terms on the same side. So let's go ahead and get those B values together. Always do variables first. So we're going to subtract 3B, subtract 3B. So that gives me 0 on the left. 0 plus 7 is just 7. 8B minus 3B, or 8B plus negative 3B, is going to give me 5B. And that plus 2 is tagging along so that we can have a two-step equation. We undo that addition with subtract 2 from both sides. Subtract 2. So we end up with 7 minus 2 gives me 5. 5B is equal to 5. We divide both sides by 5. And 5 over 5 gives me 1. 5 over 5 gives me 1 again. On the left, we need that 1. It cannot go invisible. But on the right, the 1 can go invisible because we still have B. So 1 is equal to B. And that means that we have, again, one solution. We got one answer. And that's that B is equal to 1. Now, let's do this next problem. If you're feeling brave, push pause. Give it a try on your own. Alright. We have our balance line drawn in. No, really, I meant it though. If you want to pause it and try it, it's not a hard problem. Distributive property. And we have to use the distributive property because there is more than one D in the problem. If there's only one D, then our distributive property might not always be the best step. Although, in this case, all those fractions on the outside. You always get choices. You could multiply and get rid of it, because it is on the outside. But we'll do it the normal way. On the left, 6D minus 6, because I haven't done anything. Balance line means that's your equal sign. And now we're going to multiply. 3/4 times 4D. 4 over 4 is going to become a 1. So we end up with 3 dogs, 3D, plus 3/4 times 8. 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 1 is 4. 24 over 4 gives me a 6. Collect your variable terms together. That's why we distributed, so that we could collect our variable terms. I'm going to subtract my 3D because it is smaller. 3D. 6D minus 3D is 3D. I didn't do anything with minus 6. Equal to 3D minus 3D is 0. And 0 plus 6 is 6. We have a two-step equation. We should be getting really good at these if we weren't already. We add 6 to both sides. Add 6. 3D plus 0 gives me 3D. 6 plus 6 is 12. Now we undo that multiplication with a division. Divide by 3 on the left. Whatever I do on the left, I must also do on the right. 12 over 3, so that I get D is equal to 4. Again, I ended up with one solution. If possible, solve for the variable, state the number of solutions, and look back at your vocab if you need to. Well, get it started. There's distributive property in there. Distribute. Oh, I missed my balance line. I better put that in. I now have 4x plus 5 is equal to 4x plus 20. Some of you will look at this right away and say, well, that's a contradiction, right? 4x plus 5 cannot equal 4x plus 20. It's just not possible. It's not. So if this is the place where you notice that it's impossible, stop and just simply write down that this problem has no solutions. That's what that empty set means. Nothing will work. But perhaps you're one of those people that didn't see that right away. And you went ahead and you gather your variables, especially on a test. Start gathering those variables. They have to move, so we get a 0, and oh, maybe, this is weird. 2 zeros, you should be feeling this is weird. So now, when you have that weirdness, you need to start thinking, is it a true statement, or is it a false statement? Can 5 equal 20? Goodness, I hope you say never. It's never true. So we cross out our equal sign because it's not possible. And at this point, then, we have to say that there are no solutions. So how about we go over to this left. I am definitely tired. Let's go over to this right-hand side. Put in our balance line. The most common way to do this problem is to do distributive property first. The left I didn't change, so that's 6x minus 3 equal to 6x minus 3. Hopefully, you're seeing, well, duh, 6x minus 3 is always equal to 6x minus 3. And you have that duh moment, and you're like, well, this is always true. Then you can say, ooh, infinitely many. Right? There are infinitely many solutions because this, infinitely many solutions, because this is an identity. It's the identity, right? It stayed the same. It maintained its identity. But some of you are going to be so in the mode, go, 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 when you get to a test situation that you're not going to notice this right away. It's not going to stand out. So let's see what happens when you get to the bottom of the problem, when you think you've solved it. So some of you didn't notice that these two things are exactly the same. So you went ahead and you're gathering your variables next. 6x minus 6x. So that we end up with 0 minus 3, well that's negative 3, equal to 0 minus 3, that's negative 3. And when I get to the bottom, negative 3 is always equal to negative 3. So when that happens, then we can say at this point we have infinitely many solutions because we have an identity. There are 2 problems here for you to practice. Give them both a try. Come back and check your work. Make sure that you let me know if you have any questions on these problems. All right. So in that first problem, hopefully you're noticing that I put in this star right here, because some of you might have noticed right here that 10m minus 4 is equal to negative 4 plus 10m. So you might have been able to say an identity earlier than others who had to solve all the way through. Similarly, in this second problem, if you get to this point right here, this step, and you say 2t minus 3 equal to 2t plus or minus 0, then, and you notice right away, well, that can't happen. You can't subtract something and not subtract something and have the same thing. So that this is an empty set problem, that's fine. The other thing I want to caution you on is to make sure that you realize that when you have that 2t minus 2t, on the right-hand side of this problem, it can't go invisible. That 0 has to be written down because it's the only thing over there. We would never leave a side of an equation empty that wasn't previously empty, in comparison to the left side, where 2 plus negative 2 gave me a 0. Because 0 minus 3 is negative 3, I didn't have to write this 0 down. So just be careful with that. I'm pretty sure we're going to go over a lot of this on Friday, but I wanted to make sure that you had some good notes to get your homework done tonight. Have a good one.